So Mariko's video is going to be a little bit late this week. She has a midterm tomorrow and she's super swamped, so she's going to do it on Friday or Saturday, I think. But in the meantime, I have a little sort of like bonus video for you this week. 2 weekends ago, Mariko and I were at something called Ontario Youth Parliament, which is an organization that we're both really involved in. It's like a model parliament for youth and young adults in our province, and we debate current issues and stuff, and we have a lot of fun, and it's really awesome. So last year I was a legislation minister, so I wrote a bill that we debated in the House. It was about factory farming. This year I wasn't a legislation minister, I was something else, but I liked doing so I decided to write a PMR, which is like a private member's resolution, and I got to present that, and it was on body image and media influence on body image. And a lot of my speech is sort of just about that issue, and I was pretty proud of it, and so I asked, and it's sort of relevant to the kind of things we talk about on here, so I asked Mariko if it would be cool if I recorded that speech and put it up, and she was into it, so that's what this is going to be. Alright. When all of the images that you see, everything that is touted as good and beautiful and desirable and ideal, looks so different from you, it's very difficult to feel as though you could ever be good or beautiful or worthwhile. When we look at the media around us, we see images of people, especially women, that are all startlingly alike. Thin, white, toned, unblemished, fine-featured, tall. That lack of diversity in a population that is incredibly varied would be enough to cause serious problems, making people chase ideals that are only realistic for a tiny fraction of the population. But we have taken this a step further. We take images of ideals that are already incredibly difficult to obtain and unrealistic for a large majority of individuals, and work the Photoshop magic that makes these ideal images impossible to obtain, no longer representative of any semblance of reality. The fact that the vast majority of models and actors we see in popular media are so very alike is a problem that is obvious and easy to spot, but it is far more dangerous than many of us realize. These images show us what is viewed by society as valuable: thinness, whiteness, classical attractiveness, and in doing so serve to alienate those who fall outside of one or more of these categories. This complete lack of representation sends a clear message. You are not attractive, you are not valuable, you are not worthy to be seen. The damage that this does is twofold. First, there are the psychological effects to people who are members of those not represented groups, the belief that what they are is inferior, lesser, shameful. And then there are, on a societal scale, the prejudices these images reinforce, racism and fat shame in particular. Less in your face obvious about the images we see every day is that they have all been photoshopped, perfected, distorted, and it is this lack of transparency that is such a big problem. We have learned to trust our eyes. We take what we see at face value. Even though most of us probably understand, on some level, that much of print media is photoshopped, I don't think it is generally what runs through our minds every time we see the cover of Vogue in a supermarket, and so we take what we see as real, attainable. And because it is presented as ideal, because we are told in no uncertain terms that we will be judged as lesser if we do not look like that, many of us attempt to attain it. At best, this means that, collectively, we are spending an exorbitant amount of money and resources on beauty products that we don't need, but it is also a key driver of the ever-growing epidemic of body image problems and eating disorders. Only 20% of women are satisfied with their appearance. 81% of 10-year-old girls are afraid of being fat, and a staggering 31% of girls admit to having starved themselves in an effort to lose weight. 1 in 3. If you have more than 3 female friends, chances are that at least one of them has been taught to hate herself so effectively by the media that she has intentionally skipped meals in an effort to reach that unreachable ideal. Photoshop is used to perfect almost every aspect of images, but there is one digital altering trend that is particularly prominent and particularly disturbing, and that is whitewashing. Whitewashing refers not only to the lightening of skin and hair by several shades, but also to the reshaping of facial features to make them appear more white. These practices are appallingly rampant and employed regularly in photographs of prominent celebrities like Beyoncé and Queen Latifah. Not only does this add to the overall whiteness of media, a huge problem in and of itself, but it sends a clear message to people of color. Even incredibly talented, successful, and famous people are not considered worthy by mainstream culture of appearing in print unless they are altered to an acceptable level of whiteness. This serves to both subtly and constantly reinforce the dominant culture of racism, as well as reinforcing internalized racism in people of color and promoting dissatisfaction with one's own skin, which is obviously incredibly psychologically hurtful, but can also lead to physical harm. The intense media pressures to have lighter skin has led to increasing popularity of non-prescription skin bleaching and lightening creams, many of which have been found to contain dangerous, toxic, and illegal compounds. Every time we turn on the television, every time we open a magazine, every time we pick up the mail, enter a shopping mall, drive down the highway, we are inundated with images of unrealistic, impossible perfection. Images that, no matter how we look, we will never be able to stack up to. Images that are constantly reminding us, you are not thin enough, you are not tall enough, you are not pretty enough, you are not light enough, your hair is not shiny enough, your teeth are not straight enough, you are not good enough, you are not enough. Lies that we hear so often, we begin to believe them. We need to begin celebrating diversity, tearing down restrictive beauty ideals, and eradicating the notion that there are specific boxes you need to be able to check in order to be beautiful, valuable, desirable, worthy.